Next in the series of MiniBrute cookbook recipes, we have Acid Basics. This is a typical 303-like patch. Get a groovy sequence going on, grab the cutoff, and get ready for endless tweaking. So, as always, start back with nothing going on in the patch bay, nothing going on our effects or nothing. Everything kind of back to standard. Filter all the way open, no resonance. That's alone. Let's leave that alone. Oh! Okay. Nothing going on again. Okay, so for this sound, we're going to start off with the square wave. There's our square wave. There we go. Try to get it down into like a more of a bass range, and then we'll go from there. All right. So we got our square wave going. Let's get the cutoff all the way down because we're going to modulate it. Or I'm sorry. We're going to use the envelope to change what's happening, okay? So we'll get our cutoff frequency all the way down, FM frequency, or I'm sorry, the frequency modulation for the cutoff frequency. We want to set that amount to, I don't know, maybe just under 50%. So it'll be like about 2:30-ish, 2 o'clock on the dial here. Now let's get some movement to the actual envelope itself. So we'll get our decay up so we can hear something. Sustain up so that it stays. And release so that whenever we let go, it doesn't just cut off arbitrarily, right? Let's get some resonance going. Now it's... Ooh. There we got some resonance going on in that background there. But we can do some more with this, right? First of all, that amplitude, it's missing out on a lot here. So we're going to do is going to take the ADSR output, run that into the amplitude. That way we can keep it going a little bit longer, right? Now the other thing we can do is we're going to take the keyboard input, which is basically the MIDI of how high the pitch is of the note that we're playing, and we're going to put this into the pressure modulation. Okay, so with a little bit of tweaking, we basically got our 303 patch, right? Well, it's pretty close. So let's talk about what's happening here, right? So first of all, as we knew from building it, the square wave is making the sounds, right? Oscillator 2 isn't doing bupkis. He's lazy today. He gets the day off. So your typical 303-like patch is based off of the, I think it was a Roland T303, TB303, something like that. You know, but it was basically, from what I understand, it was meant to be an analog synthesizer that would replace having a bass player in your band. But it did that very badly, very poorly. Instead, you would get these really electronic, just kind of alien-sounding sounds. And some guys from Chicago figured out that works really well for dance music, for house music, and then Acid was born, and that was, you know, the Acid sound. You know what I mean? But so what's happening is it's a filter that's cutting off that square wave and sweeping down with a lot of resonance involved. Okay, and then Now, to make it more playable in the sense that you can actually like pick pitches and get it where it needs to go, we're using the MIDI from the keyboard to adjust how high the cutoff frequency is going to go, which thereby also adjusts where the resonance frequency is going to be in that sound, right? Or where it's going to resonate in the sound. So as you can hear, as I go higher up with the attenuator 1 all the way up with the pressure modulation. Oh, nope. Yep, that's all right. I had it right. Yep. See how that resonance gradually when the resonance finally settles, depending on how high I am on the keyboard, it'll settle higher or lower depending, right? So here's low C, right? And then here it settles higher up, like you get what I'm saying? So you can play around with those anything that we use to make this sound. You can play around with it to adjust exactly how that sound is going to come out. Now, as always, we're going to adjust the sound a little bit. We're going to do some stuff with it. The thing with an acid-based sound is it's kind of iconic in the way that it is. So you definitely don't have to do a lot to it. Because we're using a square wave, I kind of want to just put a little bit of pulse width on it. But what I'm going to do is, since we're not using oscillator 2, I'm actually going to use oscillator 2 as our pulse width modulation. But I need to see what it actually sounds like, so I'm going to disable all this for a minute. Because I want to tune them here. They don't need to be perfect, just close enough. Okay, so we go back to square wave, resonance, turn on this back all the way down. Okay. Maybe it's the cable. I'm inclined to believe that it's not the cable, though. Yep, not the cable. Great. So my patch bass starting to fall apart. That's awesome. Okay, so now that we have a little bit of this going into here, you can hear it putting a little bit of putting a little bit of like stank behind it, right? If we bring this up, there we can put a little more fuzz behind it. I'm gonna put, ooh, I like that. That's dirty. I like it. All right, cool. So that was all we did was add a little bit of pulse width modulation to it. And it added just a little bit of crunch. It's very subtle. But if you were to run that through some overdrive or like a nice tube, any good bass sound, any good analog bass sound, run it through a good tube distortion. A nice, clean, but character-filled tube distortion. Something that's not going to like distort the crap out of it. Just warm it up really nice. Run that through there. Oh, it'd be tasty as pie. Mine's out for repair right now, so can't do much with it right now. But there you go. So there is Acid Basics, right? Remember, it's the resonance of the filter through the the oscillator going through the filter that's being resonated in a crazy way. Now, that's with a square wave. You can switch it up. But the thing is then you'll lose the pulse width modulation. So then you have to put it over to the saw wave, or the ultra saw, I mean. And it gets totally different now, right? So experiment, play with your synth, have fun.